Triple H snaps after Raw. Jacob Fatu causes chaos. Raw ends in total panic. Fatu rampage breaks WWE. WWE loses control of Fatu. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Did WWE finally lose control of Jacob Fatu, or was this the plan all along? And why did Triple H reportedly explode backstage after Raw in a way we almost never hear about anymore? Because what happened after the cameras stopped rolling on Raw felt less like a wrestling show, and more like complete chaos barely being held together with duct tape and security guards. Seriously, if you watched Raw this week, you could feel it. The atmosphere was weird from the start. Not bad weird. Dangerous weird. Like something backstage was already boiling before the show even began. Commentary sounded tense, segments felt rushed, and every time Jacob Fatu appeared on screen, it was like everyone in the arena forgot how to breathe for a second. And honestly? Can you blame them? This man walks around like he's one bad sentence away from throwing someone through a wall. Jacob Fatu doesn't even move like a normal wrestler anymore. He moves like a problem WWE created and can no longer control. That's the scary part. Because over the past few months, WWE has slowly turned him into this unstoppable force. Every week he destroys somebody. Every week security fails. Every week Adam Pearce looks 10 years older. At this point that man needs a vacation and maybe therapy too. I'm just saying. But after Raw ended, things allegedly went way further than expected. According to all the backstage whispers floating around online, the situation completely spiraled after Jacob Fatu's attack during the final moments of the show. Fans inside the arena reportedly saw security rushing toward gorilla position while production staff looked panicked. And the craziest part? Some people are now claiming police were actually called backstage afterward. Now before anybody jumps into the comments screaming, "Bro, it's a storyline," yes, obviously WWE loves blurring reality and fiction. That's part of the fun. But the reason this story exploded online so fast is because people genuinely couldn't tell where the performance ended and where the real anger began. That's when things got interesting. Because suddenly reports started spreading that Triple H himself snapped backstage after Raw went off air. And if you've followed WWE long enough, you know that's rare. Triple H usually plays things cool publicly. Calm voice. Corporate smile. The guy talks like he's constantly trying not to wake up a sleeping dragon. But every now and then you hear stories about moments where he absolutely loses patience backstage, and apparently Jacob Fatu may have pushed things to that point. Now imagine this scene for a second. Raw has just ended. The arena is still buzzing. Fans are recording videos, screaming about what they just saw, and somewhere behind the curtain there's total madness happening. Security guards moving fast. Producers yelling into headsets. Wrestlers trying to figure out whether they should stay away or get involved. And in the middle of all that chaos? Jacob Fatu still pacing around like a man who isn't finished. That image alone is terrifying. Because the way WWE has been presenting him lately feels different from normal monster heel booking. Usually these characters eventually slow down. Somebody humbles them. Somebody exposes a weakness. Not Jacob Fatu. If anything, he's getting more violent every week. And I think that's why fans are obsessed with this story right now. Deep down, people are starting to wonder whether WWE accidentally created a character too believable for its own good. You know what's funny? A few years ago fans used to complain that WWE didn't feel unpredictable anymore. Everybody thought the shows were too polished, too scripted, too safe. Well, be careful what you wish for. Because now we've got Jacob Fatu turning backstage into what looks like a crime documentary. And somehow it works. Social media absolutely exploded after Raw. Clips of the attack spread everywhere within minutes. Fans started zooming into random background footage like FBI investigators trying to solve a conspiracy. One blurry security guard runs past the camera and suddenly people are making 20-minute theories on TikTok. Wrestling fans are undefeated, man. Give them one mysterious backstage clip and suddenly everybody becomes Sherlock Holmes with Wi-Fi. But there's one detail people keep focusing on more than anything else. Triple H. Not Jacob Fatu. Not the attack itself. Triple H's reaction. That's what changed the entire conversation. Because rumors started circulating that he was beyond furious backstage, especially after things allegedly got physical behind the scenes even after the segment ended. Again, WWE thrives on controlled chaos, so nobody fully knows what's storyline and what isn't. But that uncertainty is exactly why this feels huge. And honestly, this might be the smartest thing WWE has done in years. Think about it. When was the last time fans genuinely debated whether something had gone too far? Wrestling used to live in that space. Back when people weren't sure if rivalries were real. Back when backstage fights became legends. Back when a wrestler walking into the parking lot alone felt dangerous. That energy is suddenly back. And Jacob Fatu is at the center of it. The scary thing is, he actually looks believable enough to pull this off. Some wrestlers try too hard to look intimidating. They scream constantly, overact, make weird faces, and you can practically hear the acting through the television. Jacob Fatu barely needs to say anything. That's what makes him terrifying. It's the silence. It's the way he stares at people like he already knows how the fight ends. Even Roman Reigns, a man who literally built an empire around fear and dominance, has looked cautious around him lately. And that tells you everything. Now imagine Triple H backstage trying to restore order while this human wrecking ball refuses to calm down. That sounds less like Raw and more like a prison movie. And fans ate it up. The phrase "Jacob Fatu arrested" started trending almost immediately after the show. Some fans genuinely thought police had detained him backstage. Others believed WWE was planting fake leaks online to build hype for the next episode. Honestly? Either option sounds possible at this point. That's how blurred the lines have become. And if this is all part of WWE's bigger plan, then somebody behind the scenes deserves a raise immediately because people cannot stop talking about it. But here's the twist nobody seems to notice. Triple H snapping might actually be the most important part of the entire storyline. Not because of anger. Because of fear. Think about the message this sends if WWE leans into it fully. If even Triple H, the authority figure, the boss, the guy running the company, can't control Jacob Fatu anymore, then who can? That instantly makes Fatu feel even more dangerous. And wrestling desperately needs villains like that again. Not cartoon villains. Not "I'm evil because the script says so" villains. I mean villains that make the entire show feel unstable whenever they appear. Jacob Fatu has somehow become that guy. And what makes this even crazier is how quickly it happened. A lot of fans knew he was talented before WWE signed him. People who watched his work outside WWE already understood how explosive he could be. But I don't think anyone expected him to become this level of chaos this fast. Every week he feels less like a wrestler and more like an incoming natural disaster. Like commentary should start giving evacuation warnings before his matches. Ladies and gentlemen, please calmly proceed to the nearest exit. Jacob Fatu has entered the building. I'd believe it. And you know what else is interesting? WWE seems to be intentionally filming him differently now too. Pay attention next time. The camera angles are shakier around his attacks. The pacing feels messier. Commentary sounds more emotional instead of polished. Production almost wants you to feel uncomfortable watching him. That's not accidental. That's psychological storytelling. They want fans questioning whether this man has completely lost control. And after Raw, that idea became even stronger. Now there are theories everywhere about what happens next. Some people think Triple H will suspend him on television. Others think Pearce is going to bring in extra security or even law enforcement as part of the storyline. A few fans believe Roman Reigns himself may eventually step in because Jacob Fatu is becoming too dangerous for WWE management alone to handle. And honestly, that last idea feels massive. Because if Roman eventually confronts Jacob Fatu not just as a rival, but as somebody trying to stop complete destruction, that changes everything. That becomes bigger than championships. Bigger than factions. Bigger than Raw itself. That becomes survival. And wrestling is always at its best when it feels personal like that. You can already picture the moment too. Triple H standing in the ring furious. Security everywhere. Adam Pearce sweating through another suit. Fans chanting uncontrollably. And then Jacob Fatu's music hits. Tell me that arena wouldn't explode. Seriously, comment below right now. Do you think WWE is building Jacob Fatu into the next unstoppable monster of this generation, or do you think somebody eventually has to humble him before this gets completely out of control? Because right now, I honestly don't know. That's the fun part. And wrestling hasn't felt this unpredictable in a long time. You can criticize WWE for a lot of things, but when they lock into a storyline that makes fans obsess over every tiny detail, they're still one of the best entertainment companies in the world at creating conversation. Everybody is talking about this. Everybody. Even casual fans who stopped watching years ago are suddenly seeing clips of Jacob Fatu destroying people backstage and asking, wait, who is this guy?